Hey guys, it's Elena. So for today's video, it's gonna be quite a special one. Before we get started though, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let's jump into it. Hold on, let me adjust the camera because it's like crooked. Ugh. So for today's video, I thought I'd share my pescatarian journey with you and show you my results with just being pescatarian for 1 month. If you don't know what pescatarian is, I should probably inform you what it is. It's a vegetarian diet with seafood. I do want to put a disclaimer out there. This video is not telling anyone to go pescatarian, not telling anyone how to eat, but just my personal experience. I waited quite a long time to share my results with you because it's very vulnerable. I also didn't really like the way that my body looked. I never went out of my way to like post like a full-on bikini picture. I do have this one up though on Instagram. I'm covering up myself a little bit. I was never fully satisfied with the way that my body looks. I just didn't really want to be judged for the way that my body looks, but like then again, the older that I get, literally every day, the less I care about how I look to other people. If you think I look ugly, then that's your own opinion. If you think I look great, then thanks. I think it's my fear of how I would think people might react to the way that I look if I don't look, you know, like I'm posing all the time or look my best or whatever. Before I show you my results and my experience so far with being pescatarian, I want to share with you why I even went pescatarian to begin with. Everyone feels like 2020 has been the toughest year that they've lived on this planet. I know that might sound really dramatic, but it's kind of true. Like 2020 has been a tough year for everybody and it's been affecting so many people. I also feel like 2020 is the year where a lot of things are being exposed. The Black Lives Matter movement was actually the thing on social media that sparked every other thing inside of me. I never used to think of myself as someone who was political. I did care about a lot of things, but I never deeply cared about it the way that I do now, only because I have more of an understanding. Now that 2020 has hit, all of that, all of this information, all of this news is on my feed, and I'm glad that it is because I'm keeping up to date with things that are happening around the world and keeping myself really informed, which is super important. I've been kind of doing a lot of research on what's been going on the planet, in our environment, the world in general. I just feel like we're so disconnected from our environment and I wanted to be part of the change. So going pescatarian, cutting my meat intake is one of the things that I do to contribute to the environmental impact, living more sustainably, stuff like that. I grew up in a Filipino family. Our meals are typically very meat heavy, and I never thought I could get away from it. I did try in the past to be vegan, vegetarian. I don't know if I was really going about it the right way, but pescatarian is kind of like the diet that stuck with me. I never like crave meat like I used to. I used to like crave burgers. Now that I know more about using alternatives, it's not really that hard for me. By meat, I mean like chicken and like red meat. To be specific, I am a lacto-ovo pescatarian because I eat eggs and things with milk in it. Another thing is something pretty big just happened in my life in general, and I want to avoid any possible like health declines in the future, and going pescatarian was a good way for me to eat healthier. Not that I ever really ate super unhealthy, but I did eat a lot of meat. Nowadays, I just try to avoid unhealthy food as much as possible, or foods that are possibly linked to sickness. Like I said, something in my life happened and it's just like pretty big, so that really inspired me to eat better. There's a documentary on Netflix called What the Health, and that was one of the things years ago that inspired me to want to eat better, but I just could never get myself to do it. Like I would try, but I was never really successful. If you're vegan, like congrats, because that's a really hard diet for a lot of people to just like go from eating a lot of meat to going vegan completely. Like good for you. That was so freaking hard for me. I heard you can't even use like shampoos that have honey in it, any form of like possible animal cruelty. So let's talk about the timeline. So this is what I looked like before. There are a lot of spots on my body that I just looked bloated. I felt bloated. It's not like I hated my body, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I look so fit, I look so amazing. This is my body 30 days later with just going on a pescatarian diet. We'll talk about the foods that I ate in a moment. I look a lot leaner, I look less bloated. I just feel like I dropped a lot of weight from just the first month, which I think is really impressive because I didn't realize how much my diet was really contributing to like me bloating and stuff like that. This is me now. Like I said, I don't really work out. My workout routine hasn't changed. I work out like once or twice a week, if that. And I know I'm not like wearing the same thing, but you kind of get the idea. I did get a little slimmer throughout that time, and that's pretty good for someone who doesn't really work out. As like, I'm not a consistent workout person anymore. Just to be clear, I haven't stopped being pescatarian. I haven't stopped, and I really don't plan to stop. I think this diet was really meant for me. I always used to tell people like, oh my god, my dream diet is to be a pescatarian, and I always thought it was going to be hard, but like, it just wasn't hard at all for me to do. Let's talk about the benefits of going pescatarian. For me, the weight loss, like toning down my body, like the bloatedness, all of that. Another thing is that going pescatarian actually inspired me to eat better. It's inspiring me to cut down a lot of other unhealthy foods. Now I just feel more aware and more connected to the food that I eat every day, the impact on the environment. It's so much better for the environment to cut down on your meat. It inspires me to be a lot more creative with my food too. There are a lot of foods out there that I didn't know existed. I had no idea that something like chickpea pasta existed. A lot of meat byproducts I'm actually cutting down on, like dairy. Dairy was the one thing that made my complexion so bad. I have hormonal acne, and it just made my acne so much worse, and also sugar. So dairy and sugar is something that I've been cutting down a lot on. I used to eat ice cream on a daily basis, and I would have the worst acne. Ever since I started going on this like pescatarian journey, I noticed that my complexion overall just looks so much better. My skin was so bad. I do still get hormonal breakouts. My food affects my skin less. You guys know how much I love skincare, so that's a big plus for me. I feel like I eat with more purpose now. I feel like I have a closer connection with my food, with animals, with the environment in general, so it makes me feel more like a better, more wholesome human being. As for what I ate, let's talk about my diet, like my actual what I eat in a day. Typically, I would eat pancakes for breakfast. Usually, I would make it with banana, oatmeal flour, and I would put like fruits in there like blueberries, and that's how I made my pancake. It's as simple as bananas and oatmeal, and I mashed them together. I would put like almond butter or peanut butter on it. Sometimes I would put honey, and I would eat it with fruit, and that's what I would have typically in the morning. For lunch, I usually have an avocado toast, so I would have toast, avocados, tomatoes. I would drink a cup of matcha latte. I would just put matcha and honey and then almond coconut milk. Right now I'm obsessed with avocado toast. I've been obsessed with avocado toast for a while though, so it's kind of been my like staple lunch food. Sometimes I would have that with fruit, like a peach or something, because I've been obsessed with peaches. Sorry, my throat is so dry. Okay, and for dinner, I usually have whatever. I eat a lot of vegetables, I eat a lot of seafood. Dinner is typically my heaviest meal of the day. I would have seafood probably 3 to 4 times a week. So yeah, that's my pescatarian journey so far. I'm probably gonna update you if you guys want to in the future. If you're interested, comment down below. Let me know if you have tried to go pescatarian, if you're pescatarian right now, vegan right now, vegetarian, or if you want to try any of those diets. I know there's like a Mediterranean diet too where you only eat meat for like once a month, something like that, but there are a whole lot of other diets out there that you can definitely try. I mainly did it for my health and the environment. If you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and turn on the post notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Help a sister out and give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!